Good morning and welcome back to the show. We are here with speech co-captain, varsity soccer player, and senior Will Pich. How are you, Will?
I'm good. I'm good.
It's great to have you on the show. I
Thank you.
think to start out, we wanted to know what your journey to US was like and kind of to this point in general.
Yeah, sure. I didn't go to US all my life. I came here in seventh grade. Before that, I was at public school in Strongsville, and then before that, I lived in Cambodia for a couple of years. And then seventh grade, obviously, I came to US, and I've been here since.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. And just recently, you announced that you'll be attending Princeton University
I will.
for college next fall to study architecture and engineering, which congrats, by the way. It's a
Congrats.
huge
Yeah.
accomplishment. What was your decision in picking those majors?
So I've always loved kind of drawing. Everywhere I go, I kind of carry a sketchbook with me, and that's kind of just to keep track of all the buildings that I loved. And that kind of sparked my interest in architecture. And figuring out how things work has also been kind of a passion of mine. Legos have always been cool, and growing up with Transformers toys, it's been awesome. So yeah, that's.
I know you're also, I think, the head of the architecture club. What has that been like?
It's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. We have had a slow couple of years, but we're gonna finally finish the pavilion soon, and kind of get more projects coming up. So
I also know, just from knowing you, that you actually have two older brothers who also attended. One attended Yale and one attended Harvard.
Yes.
What was it like trying to follow in those footsteps and kind of navigate school with them?
Um, that's a great question. So my dad always told me that pressure kind of forms diamonds. And so instead of taking that pressure in a negative way, I've kind of learned to enjoy it. I think it's great having two older brothers who have been so successful because going through the college process, they know a lot about it, especially at, what to do at those kind of schools and how to apply to those kind of schools. They've definitely helped me a lot in terms of what I should write about, what my EC should be, test scores, GPA, all that. So I think it's definitely helped me more than it's harmed me.
How did you turn that pressure into a positive? Because that's easier said than done, I think.
Yeah. I really don't know. I think when you have two brothers like that, it's either, if you don't turn into a positive, you're gonna end up, in a really dark place. That's definitely a lot of pressure, and I think you just have to navigate that yourself.
Did you ever consider anything other than really that Ivy League school route? And what makes that route so intriguing to you as a person?
Yeah, so my favorite school used to be Duke. I was fascinated with the school. Kyrie Irving went there for basketball, and I was like, man, I gotta go there, and I gotta play basketball there. Keep in mind, I was in fifth or sixth grade. I was playing rec league ball. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna play some basketball at Duke. And I always kind of wanted to go there. I thought the school was beautiful. People there were amazing. And then during my oldest brother, Peter's senior year, he kind of started applying to colleges and all that. And that's when I kind of was introduced with the whole Ivy League thing. I've always been a pretty solid student, and I thought, might as well give it a try. So.
What are some of the things that you think made you stand out? Because a lot of people apply to the Ivy Leagues, a lot of smart people do.
Right.
What do you think made you stand out?
For me, it's definitely living in Cambodia. I thought that, I was kind of a mix between American student and a Cambodian student. Living in Cambodia for 4 years, I went to school there. I learned the language, met a lot of different people, a lot of Khmer people, a lot of Korean people, surprisingly. And you get obviously some Americans here and there. It was a pretty cool experience living in Cambodia, and I thought my ability to kind of write about that in my essays helped me stand out, as opposed to just being a super smart kid. So
Now, when you were on those kind of trips, while you saw your brother go to go to Harvard, go to Yale, what stood out to you about Princeton?
so there's this holy trinity called Harvard, Yale, Princeton. My oldest brother, Peter, his first choice was initially Princeton. He got in restricted early action, and then he ended up going to Harvard, which is, kind of disappointing for Princeton. My other brother, he also got into Princeton, ended up going to Yale. So that's kind of how Princeton stood out to me. I'm like, okay, nobody's going there, so I might as well go there. But it's also just a really great place to be. I love how close it is to New York. I don't want it to be in the heart of New York just because I think it's just too busy. So New Jersey, I settled for like a pretty quaint place. It's got pretty solid athletics, Xavier Lee and Princeton basketball, so
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. And yeah, they have amazing programs like the abroad program, the Novogratz program. It's awesome. So
And I really want to go into living in Cambodia. What drove that? Like, why did you live in Cambodia?
I moved there when I was in first grade, and I never really asked my parents why, but we kind of just lived there. I've had family there for a while, so I guess we just moved, and I think those were probably the best 4 years of my life.
Why is that? What did you learn?
It was kind of just reconnecting with my roots. I know that may sound a little cliche, but like it was just being back in my homeland, like where my parents grew up. They would always tell us stories about when they were kids, and the war that went on, and a bunch of other experiences. And I always loved hearing about them, and I always wanted to visit. So living there has allowed me to kind of understand everything. The food there is amazing. Obviously you have some problems there, government corruption and all that. But the country itself, it's an amazing place with like even cooler people. The language is beautiful, and going to school there, I went to a school called Logos, which was an international missionary school. So it was where a bunch of like missionaries went and taught. So it was like you got a lot of Khmer people, but you were also exposed to some of the other worlds that were close to Cambodia, like Korea, Japan, and yeah, that's.
Going back kind of to your time at US, once you came back, what were those clubs or activities? I know we already talked about you playing basketball and we talked about architecture club, but what was mainly your clubs and activities that pushed through the rest of middle and high school?
So for me, it's kind of, I transitioned from basketball to soccer around like 7th grade. Both my brothers were playing it, so I hopped on that train. And I've fallen in love with it since. It's definitely been a pretty tough journey making it to varsity and playing there, but a very, very enjoyable one. So varsity soccer, or soccer in general, has been something that I've stuck to my entire time in US. Architecture club, my oldest brother, he ran it, and then I kind of took over it with Bryce later on. And that was pretty fun. So I've kind of been a part of that since freshman year. And a couple other ones like Lopresti board, they're pretty cool. And East Asian platform, those are definitely the big main ones. There are a couple side ones, but those are the main ones. So.
Did you ever consider playing soccer in college, or did you always know it was kind of just a hobby for high school?
That's a great question. I'm kind of going through that right now. I think the more I learn about, being an athlete in college, the more I want to be one. It's kind of just that feeling of being a part of a team. And I think that, the recruiting process it's already pretty late. But if I had a chance to, maybe walk on or even play club there, I would love to.
I know you're also you're one of the speech co-captains of the speech and debate team. What's been that experience being on the speech team and really kind of just learning how to like present yourself well and speak well?
Yeah. First of all, if you're thinking about joining speech, please join it. It's definitely, it helps you in public speaking a lot. It definitely helped me during my Sherman speech. It was amazing. I think my experience in speech started off as like something that I should just put on my college. As a freshman, I joined and I thought, okay, everybody does it. I think it'll look great on my college resume. But the more I did it, the more I fell in love with it. And I think that's mainly because of this kid named Caden Jones. He was a senior a couple years ago, and he kind of helped push me and co-captain Aaron Velez along. Kind of seeing him succeed so much and doing so well, but also how powerful his speech was. It influenced me to maybe become a captain and help, share that feeling to others. So yeah.
Do you have any clubs, activities, or kind of just initiatives at the school that you wish we had or wish you brought to this place?
Well, there's this initiative that my brothers and I started called Gala. and it's been pretty slow so far, and I don't think we've done a great job integrating it within our school. But it's definitely something that I'm passionate about, and I hope to bring on in the next couple of years. My cousin being here, the initiative is basically we collect used sports equipment from after season ends, and then we pack them up in boxes, and then we ship them off to Cambodia and distribute them among local schools, like more underfunded ones, but that's the initiative itself. And I think, when it just started out, we did a pretty good job of, introducing it to the school. But I think as the years have passed, it's kind of gone down a little bit. So I think that's definitely something I want to bring.
How do you manage all these different activities and priorities? What do you think your trick is to being able to do all that?
I honestly have no idea. I think that it's all about how it starts with homework. Like if you can get that out of the way, homework and then studying for tests, definitely, prioritize that. And then everything else comes after. So I would say just a lack of sleep, but not like a crazy amount.
Can relate to that.
Yeah. Yeah. just a lack of sleep. That'll get you through. And coffee.
Now, kind of going back to when you came back from Cambodia, when you kind of went through the middle school, what was it like going from kind of public school to then that missionary school to that private school? Did you notice a significant difference, or how has that changed?
Yeah, there's definitely a huge significant difference. First of all, university school is an all-boys school, so there aren't like girls or anything. And I think while some may be opposed to that, I actually I thought that it was pretty good, just focusing on learning as opposed to all that. That's definitely one of the standout pieces of it. Another difference would be, so back in missionary school in Cambodia, there was Bible study all the time, and we started the mornings with prayers and songs. Definitely different here. And public school, there's a huge difference in the food. So yeah, I think that's all I can list on the top of my head.
Who are some of the mentors, and this can be U.S. or not U.S., that have helped you through your journey?
So I think one of the biggest mentors I have is my oldest brother, Peter. He's a great older brother. I think I wouldn't be here where I am right now without him. He's kind of helped guide me through the college process, as I said before, and kind of just, figuring things out or helping me manage stress or just being someone I can talk to. He's definitely led the way for a lot of the things I do. And I think I can owe it all to him.
We've talked a lot about family and your family more specifically throughout the podcast. What does kind of this family and this bond that you guys have really mean to you?
I think it honestly means the world. I would say I'm very, very close to my family. We every Saturday or Sunday we come together and we watch a couple movies, and we talk a lot. We live like 45 minutes to an hour to school, so on those long car rides we're always talking about school, how our day was, and even things beyond like small talk. We would learn about my dad's childhood or funny stories about my brothers, and I think that relationship that we've kind of created over the years helped us a lot in becoming, super close, and eventually, turning into like a little mentorship where I'm comfortable talking about certain things with them, especially school wise, and they're always helping me. So I think that relationship has definitely helped.
Do you have a favorite story that your dad's shared with you guys about his childhood?
There are a lot. Let's see. He would always tell us about this this one time he got straight A's on a report card. He used to go to US. He got straight A's on his report card, and he always rode the bus home. It took about like an hour and 30 for him to get home. He would always ride the bus home, and he had the report card in his hand. And so I think in an attempt to impress a girl, he would tell us how he told her that, he got these straight A's, he was going to go to Princeton. And we'd hear that pretty often.
No matter what kind of student you are, what you're a part of, there's many times throughout high school that really kind of test your endurance and your motivation. And Jack and I constantly think about that push that many people find to get them over these rough patches.
Right.
Will, what is your why, right? What pushes you through those moments?
I think understanding, kind of what my family's been through. So my dad originally came to the U.S. As an immigrant. He fled the Khmer Rouge, which was a genocide that came from some dictator named Pol Pot. So my dad came as an immigrant, and he didn't have a lot of money. And so I think all his life he's tried to work hard to kind of bridge that wealth gap between, let's say us and other kids. And kind of growing up without, some of those nice experiences has helped me, try to do well in school and try to, build a better future. I could say the same thing about, my mom and all that. So, yeah.
That's a great one. We love asking that question because everyone has a different answer. And lastly, if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, or just a younger student who just has started their freshman year of high school, what advice would you give them?
I would say don't do things for the sake of college. Like, don't try to join all these clubs in order to impress the college, or don't, kill yourself trying to get these insane grades or test scores. I think it all kind of works out. And do what you really want to do. It may sound cliche, but I think following what you want to do, it makes everything so much easier because it just helps in the future. So,
Well, it has been great having you on the show today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to just share a bunch of different stories with us. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope you'll join us next Wednesday for another episode of Late Start Show. Thank you, Will.
thank you.